This is Alyssa Albanese.
And I'm Kaitlin Secord.
And this is How Did She Do It?
A podcast by millennial women for millennial women.
We talk to self-starter women each week to figure out how did they do it.
If you want to hear some tips and tricks for starting your own business, project, or creation, keep listening.
Our guest today is Katie Jang from Hamilton, Ontario. She studied communications and business at McMaster University. She works as a digital marketing specialist and is the founder of an event planning business called Collective, all at the age of 23.
Welcome to the podcast, Katie.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Could you first of all explain to our audience what Collective is?
Okay, so Collective is my event management brand, and we specialize in niche techno shows in Toronto, and they are all-inclusive for all walks of life.
So what sparked the idea for starting this business?
Well, I've always been passionate about electronic dance music. When I first started to love the whole culture, I was really active on blogs and going to almost everything around Toronto. Especially that one year when the government was closing, I was going to everything in Toronto that year.
Just in case it closes, right?
Yeah, definitely. I started promoting all ages events when I was 15, so I think that's where it started.
Oh.
Yeah. And then when I went to McMaster University, I started working for Club 77, and that is Hamilton's largest entertainment complex. And around fourth year, I was just kind of thinking about the future, what all students do, and I just wanted to do more. And last year, I was thinking that the techno scene needed more shows. Mm-hmm. We were getting some at, let's say, Coda, we had Electric Island, but we needed more niche techno shows that really displayed that true European, Berlin, Detroit sound. So that's when Collective was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with my background in promotions and marketing, it just came really natural to me to start my own brand. Just starting a vision and committing to it is one of the hardest things to do. I started out with my launch party, which happened last year, and then to get my brand going further, I just had my 1-year anniversary for Collective, and that I just wanted to do the whole go big or go home kind of thing. So
yeah.
I had aerial dancers.
Oh, wow.
I wanted that extra spark so that everyone could talk about it.
Yeah.
I had to cap the tickets because it was getting too
Wow.
chaotic.
That's
after.
incredible. Yeah. Awesome.
It's great that everyone's really supportive of my projects. It means a lot.
Yeah, well, that sounds like you've had some incredible successes.
Thank you.
Have you encountered any problems along the way? And if you have, then what have they been? And how did you kind of deal with them and move past that?
Well, working in a team is always hard because you're collaborating with people that have different creative visions than you. It's also really hard to work with your friends. So with our warehouse parties, I work with my best guy friends, and you know how they like to play the little sister thing and bug you on every little thing.
Yeah. No, me and Kaitlin, actually, we totally struggle to work together and be friends at the same time, right? It's so hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can say things or they'll say things. You can't really take it to heart, and just it's best to keep it separate.
So you mentioned having issues specifically with men that you were working with.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any instances where you thought this wasn't gonna continue because of something a man said to you, or because you didn't think you could do it as good as a man could?
Lot.
Yeah.
Our team it's basically all men plus me. Actually, when we were first starting Untitled, I felt like the guys had more say than I did, and obviously with my personality type, I'm just I'm right, you guys can't put me down for this, but along the way, kind of learned that you just have to really communicate that better, and you can't really explode your feelings, and it's all about communicating properly to get your point across.
After you've had this idea, I'm gonna start this business, how did you actually get started?
Okay, so first and foremost, I started working on a logo. My friend's a graphic designer, and we were working back and forth I really like the fedora hat. So whenever I go to shows, I'm always wearing my little fedora hat. I really wanted to incorporate it into my logo.
Yeah.
But it was kind of tacky and it didn't transcribe well on like paper. So I scratched that. And the collective logo is very minimalistic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a big K for Katie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why it's called Collective with a K now.
Well, also because collective is a group of like-minded people, and the whole brand is bring people together who like the same music, people who love art and entertainment, and it's just, I found that was good branding for the name. Yeah, so with that, I have a very strong promotions and marketing background. To get my brand off the ground, first you have to obviously come up with your logo, your name, find some people that will like really help you with your project. Everything else I kind of just took and ran with, aka kind of like finding caterers for my launch party, finding the venue. I just like knew how to set everything up from my history.
Okay.
So it was just very easy that way. I think your network is really important. Just kind of figuring out what your friends are doing as well. Like, my friends will come up to me and say, "Oh, hey, I just started a catering company. If you need me for anything, like, let me know." And it's just like, oh, okay, like, I'll use her as a link if I need catering for any kind of events. Or I have lots of friends that want to like DJ, obviously, so they're always at the back of my head if I need someone to do an opening slot. It's just using your network and people around you helps a lot for event planning.
Were there like specific people you can think of that were like mentors for you or really inspiring?
Definitely. Okay, so right before I started promoting for 77, this guy named Farhad approached me and was like, "Hey, like, you're like really interested in the whole scene, and you're like, you have a good network. You should come promote for me." And just kind of escalated from there. We're still great friends, and he'll like hit me up to help him with like Veld or the Eric Prydz show that's coming up at Rebel. Like we're still good friends, and I'll help him for whatever he needs. And Ray, he works at 77 still. He's a big mentor in my life. He kind of taught me the ways of like the scene and how to do digital marketing and how to present myself online, because that's really important.
Yeah. I know that safety at your events is very important to you. And I know that you take certain steps to make sure that your events are safe spaces for women for multiple different reasons. Can you tell me like how do you do that?
Okay, so for example, our Untitled Warehouse parties, which is a collab effort among some other event brands in Toronto, like Noctio and Odd Sign, just to name a couple. Our NDE experience is really important to us. So from the logistics to the music to the production, we try to get the best rental sound system in Toronto. That's how much we care about the whole experience for attendees. We actually man and patrol our own parties throughout the night to make sure that everyone's safe. As event organizers, we will wear lanyards so that we can be easily spotted to report any issues of that sort. And our security is also the best. So we have one at the front doors, like around the party, in the smokers area, and they carry an excellent kits and know exactly what to do if things ever go wrong. But our parties are always really safe and nothing's ever happened, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always great to have a safety plan.
Oh,
in
absolutely. Because, I actually recently went to Nest with you, Kaitlin.
Yes.
And
for what show?
it was for, it was for New Year's. Like, we didn't actually know the
Yeah.
DJ that was there. But we were like, let's go. Because, like, I don't know, it's going to be, like, a cool thing. But we were kind of scared while we were there. There was not a lot of security. We weren't checked at the door.
So it's such a relief to know that, like, there are brands out there that are kind of taking that safety into consideration.
Definitely.
Especially because if we had gone with a different group of people that maybe didn't have
Mm-hmm.
men involved, which is, again, unfortunate.
Totally. Yeah, that's
Could've been a
the
different
only
story
reason
for
why
us.
I was like comfortable staying there. I was like, okay, my boyfriend's here, I'll be safe. But there were some like crazy people walking around, people that were obviously inebriated, that were getting violent, and I didn't see much security. So yeah, that made me very anxious.
I would say that music events and techno events events especially, you don't find that many creeps, I would say, that would kind of like hit on you compared to like if you went to a bar on King Street.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's for sure. That's really different.
Is that because it's like a scene of people that like always go to the same shows, like you
Kind
know
of,
people?
yeah. But there's those kind of people everywhere that you got to watch
Uh-huh.
out for. So it's important to put in safety precautions for sure.
So obviously there's been kind of like a spike, I would even say, in drug use as a big part of the electronic dance and house community. So how do you put in efforts to prevent overdoses or try and prevent overdoses at your events?
It's hard because, as you said, there's a spike, but we definitely have girls up at the front, so we do the pat downs and make sure that no one's bringing anything silly inside. But we also offer free water for if people need it. It's hard to completely eliminate drug use at these things, obviously, but when you see something that's not exactly right and it needs to be resolved, then I'll personally step in and do something about it.
So what are you doing next?
I want to work on more art installations for all of my events to enhance user experience.
Cool.
For example, the decor for our Daniel Bell party that happened in December, those were all designed by me. We had 3D snowflakes and these drop-down mini snowflakes and abstract snow disco trees. I had a lot of help doing those, of course. But yeah, expect some big names and unique spaces. Maybe I'll partner on a festival one day, who knows?
Cool.
I'm just dreaming kind of
Yeah.
big,
Yeah.
but that won't stop me. The event industry is really hard, but I love what I do, so I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Thank you so much for answering our questions, letting us know a little bit more about you and what you've done. Congratulations on your success and good luck in the future.
Thanks, ladies.
You're
This was
welcome.
fun.
This was so much fun.
That's all for this episode of How Did She Do It? Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes so you never miss an episode.
Thank you for listening.